Hey, what's going on? It's your boy E Double here, aka Eric West, and this is the behind the scenes on the video.
Who were you inspired by when making this album?
Actually, a lot of this album was inspired somewhat by my dad, who really pushes me to, do this music stuff. He's a good source of inspiration and encouragement as well. He keeps it real, so if I have a song that's really trash, he'll let me know how bad it actually is. He's just the father that really wants to see his son succeed, and he doesn't care that I'm doing music. He was a great inspiration for the album for me. The rest of it is mostly just things that happen in my actual life. A lot of albums and mixtapes that I have on YouTube and everywhere else are inspired by just experiences.
All right. So would you say that your dad drew you to music in general?
That what?
That your dad drew you to music in general?
Yeah, I would say that. He got me into music when I was a baby. We lived in Venice at the time. He would be in his car and he would be in his garage washing his car with his stereo, and I'd be there just in my little car seat, and he would be playing the old Eminem CDs, like the Eminem Show and everything. He would play 50's first CD and everything. He really got me into rap.
All right. Could you explain your process throughout this album?
My process through this album was actually a lot different than everything else, because I actually had a process.
All right.
With my first album, Confession Tapes, it was me getting a lot of stuff on my chest and geniusly putting things together. With the mixtape, there was no process, even less of a process, I should say. I tend to just write songs, and once I have a good amount, I know the album is done. But with this, I wanted to focus on getting a variety of sounds. So, with California Dreamin', I wanted that slightly old school rap with things like Killin' 'Em or King. I wanted those harder, more trap beats, and then I also wanted some sad feelings. I wanted a mix of everything possible that I could create in only 9 tracks.
Would you like to elaborate on your lyrics, specifically the well?
Yeah, so the line goes, "None of you dogs speak when you see me here in a well." And that line is actually a reference to a cliche in old American movies and TV shows. Any show or movie that has a dog in it, you always have that, "What's that, Timmy? Johnny's stuck in a well." And, they all go to save the little boy or whatever. But as much as dogs bark, as much as everybody is talking about how they're my friend and everything, about how much I matter to them, none of these dogs speak when I'm here in a well being I'm in a very low place in my life. I'm in a tough spot. None of you guys want to speak up, even if you know that I'm in that type of situation.
Who would you say you're inspired by when making music in general, like another artist?
A lot of artists, it depends on the vibe I want to go for a song. There's all types of musicians that I'll draw inspiration from. For hip-hop, I draw inspiration from people like Royce the 5'9", the members of Slaughterhouse, Eminem for sure, all the people I grew up listening to. People now as well, like Joyner Lucas, inspire me a lot. If I'm doing more mellow sounds, people more maybe Usher and Neo inspire me. Sam Smith as well is fantastic. Just depends on what vibe I'm going for.
What advice would you give to any other artist that's trying to make music?
For advice, I would say definitely value any type of opinions you can get, even if it's not an opinion you want to hear or that you like, because the feedback from your audience is most important. At the same time, learn how to stay true to yourself. Don't change your music so much for your audience that it's not your music anymore.
What was your vision when making this video? Specifically, you chose Long Beach, you do love Long Beach, but why all these scenes specifically?
Well, all these scenes I had in mind because when I would be on YouTube watching music videos, there was something that I liked about the whole walking scenes. There's something that I really liked about panning shots and everything. Shout out to my cameraman Tony, who was a genius with circling around shots. That was fantastic. I like things that create a mood. I like the lighting that is here in Long Beach. I like being able to have something scenic for you to show for the in-between clips or the beginning outro thing. Long Beach, when I first came here to downtown, it was just beautiful, and I just knew I had to do something here.
When you don't like a song, do you ever just give up on it or just rewrite it?
If I don't like a song, if I like absolutely hate it, but I want to use the beat, I will start from scratch. But most of the time, what I'll do is I'll put the song down, maybe work on something else, or even maybe take a break from the whole creative process for the day. Because sometimes you come back to it the next day and it sounds completely different now that you have fresher ears. Maybe you like it more, maybe you like it less. So if I'm struggling with that, I just gotta put that down for a second and come back to it a little later.
What would you say is the hardest part about this whole entire experience?
The hardest part about this experience is considering things like how much traffic congestion there is in the scene that you're shooting, considering things like how long you have until the lighting is completely changed. These are all important factors. Hopefully, not only you as an artist should be considerate of that, but you should have a good enough cameraman to help you remind you of those things as well.
All right. Do you ever plan to collaborate with any other artists?
I've always been very picky about who I collaborate with. I never want to make a song with somebody whose music I do not like at all. Even if they are like a newer artist, I want to give somebody a chance if I actually appreciate their work. At the moment, my buddy Melvin, that's somebody that I definitely want to collaborate again, because we haven't done so in about 4 years or so.
How long have you been doing music?
I've been doing music about my entire life. I was always singing Michael Jackson songs. He was a big influence on me growing up until like middle school, high school. I was always playing an instrument or trying to learn it, trying to teaching myself how to play guitar, pianos. I started taking a drum class in college as well, but it wasn't until 6th grade that I started actually rapping. So now I do a little bit of both that and singing.
What's your favorite part about music?
I think my favorite part about music is the response, because after studying every art possible for my entire life, the one thing that I for sure learned is that art is something that incites a reaction. Maybe you want to get somebody really turned up and get them into the club and party into your stuff. Maybe you want somebody to feel empathy about a situation or to awaken them to something. And the responses are always beautiful. I think that's also a big reason why I make some sadder music, like the whole Confession Tapes album. Getting those text messages from people saying, this specific song made me cry. This specific song brought me back to these memories that I've been suppressing. It's helping me cope with these things. Those moments are absolutely priceless.
Have you ever felt anxious about a song you've ever released?
I felt anxious about a project. For sure, the Vault, my very first mixtape on YouTube. I felt a little anxious dropping that because it was my first actual project. I wasn't sure what type of reception I wanted to get. I had no idea what numbers I should even expect. Thankfully, everybody pulled through and gave it a nice 300 views. And even when it shut down, it got taken off of YouTube, I had to re-upload it, and the fans still came through with that same 300. Back then, when I was only getting maybe 80 views per video, which was a very nice lesson, teaching me that regardless of whatever you're going through, or regardless of how you feel about your music, you always have to have that level of confidence.
Is there always someone who's going to hate on your music?
Always. It doesn't matter if you're number one in whatever genre you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're doing something that's never been done before. There's always going to be those people unwilling to give you some type of credit. There's always going to be people who want to completely hate on you. Maybe it's because of their own biases. Maybe it's because they simply don't think your music is good. But there's always going to be that somebody, and the sooner that you can accept that, the sooner you can move on and be more confident that your work is actually worth something.
How do you personally deal with negative feedback?
I don't really deal with that at all. I mean, I'll look at the negative feedback because sometimes it's constructive. But if it's not constructive at all, there's no reason for me to want to take that in whatsoever. I'd rather, focus my energy on something more productive and positive than somebody who wants to just trash another person's talent.
All right. So this is Eric West.
Yo. Follow me on Instagram at MCEDouble. Go ahead and follow me on Facebook, subscribe to the channel. Be sure to continue the support, and I'll drop some more music for you guys. Thank you so much.